It was quite a weekend, Rev. Easter weekend, but also obviously yesterday, remembering the passing of Martin Luther King over half a century later, 53 years later.
Yes, it was. The irony of the day is as we that are Christians celebrate the resurrection, many of us in this country and in the civil rights community remembered the assassination of Dr. King. I was 13 years old when he was assassinated and had already become youth director of his New York chapter of Operation Breadbasket. And I thought about, as we are in the midst of this trial of Derek Chauvin in Minneapolis around the killing of George Floyd, as we're dealing with voter suppression laws in Georgia and in 43 other states, how far we have come and how far we have not come since Dr. King's assassination. But then I'm reminded of his last book entitled, Where Do We Go From Here? Chaos, Our Community. We are still confronted with those choices. But in his last message the night before his assassination, he predicted, he said, we'll have some difficult days ahead, but I want you to know that we as a people will get to the promised land. And that's what drives many of us that remain in that tradition of Dr. King. He promised us we'd get to the promised land no matter how difficult the days may seem.
Eddie, one of the more extraordinary speeches in American history, the speech he gave that night in Memphis on April the 3rd, 1968, the night before he was assassinated, talked about seeing the promised land, and he might not get there with you, but he talked about that we as a country were going to reach that promised land. And here we are 53 years later, and by many metrics, we've moved miles and miles and miles as a country on the issue of race. On other metrics, not so much. And this Easter weekend, obviously, a city like Minneapolis still on edge over a possible racial showdown in the coming week or weeks.
Absolutely, Joe. It was a powerful weekend. Resurrection Sunday, for those of us who are Christians, is an extraordinarily important day. I'm thinking about what Rev just said, though. You know, we often run past that line in King's famous speech. We have some difficult days ahead. You know, it's like running past Holy Saturday in order to get to Resurrection Sunday. You know, we have to deal with what Saturday represents as Christians in some ways. And so I think those difficult days he spied, we're still in. But again, he gave an Easter Sunday speech in April 27, 1957, where he talked about the power of love, the importance of love, how love can outlast, right, the ugliness of the period, of the moment. And so here we are in these difficult days. If we stand on the power of love, we can imagine rising again, it seems to me. It can actually happen.
Hey, thanks so much for watching our YouTube channel. You can follow up on today's top stories and breaking news, or catch up on your favorite MSNBC shows all in one place. Download the NBC News app today.